Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is currently Sunday afternoon, and I'm glad to see everybody is doing incredibly well out there. I did intend to sort of make this sort of video last night because, well, after once again another very hard night's sleep, and that's again probably the reason why I will, if not turn to alcohol ever again, I certainly won't be turning to whiskey anytime soon. I think the results of last night's episode were otherwise pretty conclusive, all things considered. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to discuss with you a little bit in more detail about exactly what's happening, because I went on something of a bit of an odyssey for the last few months, ladies and gentlemen. I needed to figure out exactly how to make this year mine again. You may remember me saying as far back as the end of 2021 that no matter how 2022 twists and turns, I will emerge on top and victorious. And I did in many ways. I mean, seriously, let's think about this. I'm still alive. I'm still in health. I actually managed to have videos made in preparation for the beginning of January, and I had a plan going forwards. I know that sounds very minimalistic in some ways, but actually in a lot of ways, it's probably one of the best things that could have happened. So they say that every defeat is a victory as long as you learn from it. And certainly for the last couple of months, I've learned quite a lot from my failures. Now, you may remember as far back as when I started 2023 that I would upload 3 videos a day, and that is going to be the plan going forward. I'm going to do 3 videos a day at the beginning of July all the way up to Christmas. That is what's going to be the plan going forwards. And fortunately, since, again, July is still at least 4 weeks away, I've got plenty of time to catch up on. But the thing is that I'm not going to make any quarter arsenal given about it. I've got to start this thing pretty much as we speak right now. So to fill you guys in on sort of, well, let me tell you how exactly I got to this point. You see, over the last couple of months, I've met some new people. I made some new friends. I got into some pretty harsh discussions. No. I got into some pretty harsh discussions with myself because I had to tackle the sort of dilemma I'm in right now with absolute seriousness. For example, what about all of my other YouTube channels? And I do mean all of them that I do run, because there's at least... I don't exactly know what the exact figure is, but it's somewhere gotta be in nearly the over 100 listed videos I do for my other channels. And I wouldn't even have an issue with this. In fact, to be honest, there's very little to have an issue with, except for the fact that, you know what, some people would say, fair enough, if you really want to put yourself into this, then go right ahead. But it only ever really works unless you actually get any sort of reward out of all of this. And I know in many ways it's a very toxic idea to have about you're only pursuing things like numbers and things that don't really exist. And you know what? You're absolutely right. It is a very toxic thing to talk about when when it comes down to cold, dickless things like figures and numbers. However, what I want you guys to see this from how I do it is because it would be beneficial in some ways, yes, because you know what, we all have bills to pay, we all have family to look after and all that, and I'm no different or special to anyone else. I just like to imagine that I was somewhat different because I did so much and I gave all of my free time to this cause, or gave all the time to this cause. What a bloody game that is, eh? Moreover, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I throw my hat so far into this ring is because of things like, you know, people who comment on my video, people who talk about how they like my videos, and people who have things to say about them. That for me is that's what I go for when I go for all this. Because back when I was doing like videos, like we're not talking about daily, but multiple times a day, people would, you know, they would watch and they would comment and they would give me pointers and then they give me recommendations. They would be doing quite a lot for this channel, and there's definitely a lot to be said about the people who just go out of their way to do stuff like that. That is, in my opinion, extremely commendable, and it's the sort of reason why I keep going, because I've got to have done something for somebody. You get the impression that I kind of just do something for somebody by shining the light and doing all this fun stuff. And again, I want you guys to understand, I really, really like what I do. I get a tremendous, I get a great buzz off this, if you know what I mean. It's just, the problem I sometimes face, it's not so much motivation or not enough hours in the day, or because there's plenty. The only excuse I have right now is that it's not just stuff on YouTube that I have to keep on top of. It's things on my on other social media, things about like trying to, I've been like, you know, rejected and you know, turned away from, you know, applications and a lot of things to do with writing, for example. And I just can't, I want to make it work so badly, but I'm gonna go into it knowing with the intention of doing what I want to do for it. And I would absolutely bend myself backwards to make it work. I just, it's not so, again, it's not even that I don't think it couldn't work or I couldn't even do it, but there's always that risk, ladies and gentlemen, that I have, that I will go to do something and I will put all of my stock, my effort into it, and then they'll turn me around anyway. It's not so much the margin for failure. That's not what's high about this. It's the margin that I know exactly what's coming. And to save myself from that sort of disappointment again, I'm not even going to think about that sort of thing. And it's not so much about failure, it's about disappointment, and the fact that with so many people who go into these sorts of games about like freelancing for writing and stuff like that, the second you get turned away and then you get turned away again and again and again, you become incredibly disheartened, and it makes wanting to try harder again for what might be the same result even worse. And we all know what that's like. But again, and this is something I want you guys to understand as somebody who's going through this whole process as well, is that, you know what, it never once stopped me from trying. And that's one of the most important things I can emphasize, is that it does not stop you from trying your best. I mean, they say God loves a trier and all that. And if from conversations with some people I've gotten into over the last couple of months, I think it's fair to say that, to be honest, there's quite a lot of people who actually have faith in me. And I'm not just talking about, you know, friends or family or people who are just saying it to be nice. I'm talking about people who kind of actually get it. Maybe people who have absolutely no like context for me, for myself whatsoever. People who absolutely know nothing about who I am or what my game is or anything like that. In fact, you know what? Do you want me to? I'll give you guys an example. A few days ago, I got into a conversation with a woman called Angela White. Now, we only talked about, I want to say 20 minutes at the very most. I just kind of wanted to, like, you know, just, I don't even remember exactly how we even got to that conversation. I just remember I was just moseying about on Twitter, and then like one thing leads to another, and we just kind of got talking for 20 minutes, and then I told her about some of the things that I did, and I showed her some of the things that I did, and she was kind of very, very surprised about it all, which is a very interesting conversation, to say the least. And in addendum, for all this being said and done, the thing I got with Angela is that she actually and I have no way if I could verify any of this or prove any of this whatsoever, is that, I mean, I can imagine her saying it in her New Zealand accent, but there's that thing in my head where, to be honest, could I even prove if she just said it just to be nice, or if she said it as though she thought there was something actually quite special about me going on. It's an interesting thing it's a very interesting angle to look at it. But if I am being, again, I like to go on the side that she did actually mean it. Well, to be honest, if there ever came a point where I ever got into a conversation with her again, and there's no real telling if that sort of thing will ever happen. These sorts of things aren't just like, it's not like I'll be having a conversation with her down the shops and all that. It's not going to be one of those sorts of things. But I'll tell you what might swing this again. If I kept going, and if I got into more conversations with people, and if I showcased the things I wanted to show to people, if I can't get my stuff, I used to think that the only way I was ever going to win at this game is by getting my stuff out there, and it's possibly true. That is the objective of all of it. However, it's not just about that. It's not just getting my stuff out there, but it's also getting their stuff to me. I.e., I've got to put myself out there so they'll see what I've got to say. It's a very, very it's a fascinating scenario to be in. Just what I've got to watch out for right now is, can I pull all this off? Because on one of my other channels right now, I've actually just at this very moment surpassed the 1 million view mark, which is fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. I mean, look, I'm looking at it right now. Exactly 1 million views, and I only started the channel on December the 2nd of 22, and that is like absolutely like phenomenal. That is. And I only really started uploading things on this like 6 weeks ago, so that's like, I'm not blowing my own trumpet or anything like that, but that's like, that sort of progress is phenomenal if you ask me. Now, the case about this is that if I can make it work there, then I can make it work here as well. I can make it work just about on any other platform I want to do, and that's kind of what it's going to be. Service, as they... Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. The sun has just come back out. I'm going to go for a walk, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to get straight back to business. I know it's been a bit of a long time, ladies and gentlemen, but you know what? I feel like this journey of discovery has ended a little bit prematurely than I first thought, but that's only because I knew it all along. I knew what I had to do all this time. I know what should be done all this time. I know that people have been there all this time. I know that you've been there all this time. And I know it's been a bit of a while, but it's back to reality.
champ! Glad you could make it to the end of the video. I'm super glad you cared this much. If you could do me a great favor and like this video and subscribe to my guy right here. He didn't want to say it himself because he knows I say it way better. Till next time. Mwah.